But if it's your first time here, definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. Come follow us on Twitch. That's where we also stream besides YouTube. Come join us on Discord. It's the best community ever. I would love to talk to you guys. And before we get it started, I don't have YouTube monetization, unfortunately, so I don't get money out of this. But if you want to support the channel, check out that YouTube description below. I do have an Etsy storefront link where there's coffee mugs and t-shirts. If you want to support the channel and get something out of it, that's a cool way to do it. Let's get into this content because I know that's why you guys are here, guys. So I actually wanted to do a really nice free-to-play guide on the Triple D structure deck. There has been a mini box that dropped, as well as some other stuff that I kind of wanted to go over, like some of these things that I was tweaking over the time while doing, you know, basically doing matches to kind of make it as best as possible to make it work. So I'm going to give you a lot of information that can make this pretty decent for you if you're free to play, if you're starting out, and you could actually have a lot of fun with this because there is some amazing cards in the structured deck. And all you have to do, guys, for the most part, is go into the structured deck 3 times, and I'm going to explain it to you why, and then we could kind of go from there. If you went to another deck, you can actually go to it just twice and it would be fine. But let's get into this really quick into the storefront, guys, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So as you can see, I have not gone into this mini box yet. I have not. I eventually will. These are just got from, I think, either the event or from something else. But clearly, as you can see here, guys, I don't have any cards that I'm working with on this. So if you see me in one match using this, it's because I was using a separate skill that I'll kind of go over. But the main skill I'm using is the one that gives 500 attack. But I kind of wanted to show you, like, you see, obviously I did not purchase any of these. The only thing I really did, guys, is I went into the structured deck 3 times and got all the necessities I needed for this to happen. So basically that's gonna give you a really good setup for your Triple D deck, and then you can eventually tailor it and cater it to, you know, when you start going into the mini box and stuff. And whatever other spell cards and stuff and trap cards you have, you can probably utilize here to fill in the remainder of the stuff. But let's go into my deck of what I've done so you can get an idea. Then at the end, I'll show you a replay that I've done, and I'll kind of go through a breakdown of that. Then I'll show you like a match or two of me just doing it, so you can kind of see the rotations of the spell summonings and things like that. Now, mind you, this isn't an amazing deck, but it is a really good deck for the simple fact that this deck basically costs like 3,000 gems if you think about it. It's really cheap, insanely cheap, and I was just having a lot of fun with it. You could get really extravagant by getting other cards into it. So let's get into it. Here is the deck that I'm using. I recently just started putting Book of Moon, Lightning Vortex, and Dark Contract, and Power of the Guardians. Now, the reason, just to keep in mind for you, I'll voice why I put Power of the Guardians. I'm sure there's a lot of other better spell cards out there, but I'm trying to think of a free-to-play perspective on this. But if you ignore Book of Moon and get the other trap card that I use a lot, the other trap card that I use, that if the game doesn't crash, is Floodgate Trap Hole. I usually use this just because it's a quick spell and it's more convenient and easier, but this does the same desired effect on summoning where they can't flip the card over. So if you don't have that, you can kind of go for that, or you can go for a bunch of other cards. I mean, you could go for Wall of D, you name it. Do whatever cards can kind of help you control the game a little bit. So that's why I kind of have these 2 cards here to kind of control their side of the deck of the map. So when they start doing a lot of stuff, I have some stuff to at least kind of put them at halt so I could get another chance to breathe and do another turn. So over here, I have Book of Moon, whatever, Lightning Vortex, and Power of Guardians. Now, I put Power of Guardians specifically for Oracle King. Now, the Oracle King is really amazing in the sense that if you take damage from Dark Contract with the Gate or any of the contract trap cards, they basically give you 1,000 damage. If she's out on the field, instead of taking 1,000 damage or 2,000 damage because of this one, you're actually gaining health, which is a really good thing. My camera's acting a little funny, so I'm just going to disable it for the remainder, and then I'll turn it on afterwards. But basically, it's just essentially like that. That's basically it. You get to heal if this card is out in the field. If for whatever reason you start having issues and you can't, you can't heal because this character is not on there, there's other things in the deck like this character that that basically can destroy 2 spell cards and so on and so forth. So here, during your opponent's turn, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target up to 2 face-up spell traps you control. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except fiend type monsters, and also destroy the targeted cards. And if you do special summon this card, this is a quick effect. You can only use this effect of DD Chaos Ken once per turn. So this is a really good card to basically kill a lot of the spell cards that start draining your health if you have it available. And it's also a really cool card to summon if you have a few monsters in the graveyard and you have no other way to summon. You could basically like say Swirl Slime, and then just kind of go into him and then sacrifice some monsters in the graveyard to kind of do that, which I actually do it in a few plays, I think, so you'll probably see that in the gameplay. But this is a really nice card to kind of, mitigate the damage after the fact, after you use them, so you can kind of reap the rewards but then not take the health damage. And if you have her out, you're gonna heal when these cards are on the field. So I put Power Guardians to keep increasing her attack damage so she becomes kind of unstoppable. And the only way they're going to really be able to take her down is if they get rid of this spell card. But we do have other spell cards, kind of like this Dark Contract with Errors once per turn. If you control a DD monster, you can negate all trap card effects on the field other than this card for the rest of the turn. Even if this card leaves the field once per turn, during standby phase, take 1,000 damage, or if she's on the field, you heal. Now, the way you bring her out is you bring her out by using 2 D/D monsters. Mind you, it's 2 D/D monsters. As you'll see in this deck, there are some monsters that are triple D, kind of like this Chaos King. This is a double D monster. This is the Dragon King Pendragon is a triple D, so on and so forth. So when you look at the summoning, you have to be very mindful of what type of monsters they're saying. Perfect example, Dragonbane King Beowulf. He needs 1 triple D monster and 1 DD monster that you have in your hand, so on and so forth. So it kind of, if you wanted to summon, hypothetically speaking, King Beowulf, what you would need to do is you would need to have a triple D monster, kind of like Dragon King Pendragon, and then you can use Swirl Slime to activate it. Because then what happens is this Swirl Slime acts like kind of like a fusion card, and you basically sacrifice this as a fusion material, and then this is a fusion material, and then you get this dude. The cool thing about using Swirl Slime is that Swirl Slime can behave like that, and also after that, Swirl Slime goes into the graveyard, and then Swirl Slime can now summon any star monster in your hand just by activating it in the graveyard and saying, I want to put another 7-star monster. So hypothetically speaking, if you had a Swirl Slime monster, what you could do is you can sacrifice this dude and Berformet, these 2 double D monsters, to summon Oracle King Arc, and now Swirl Slime is in the graveyard, but you have Pendragon in your hand. What you could do is activate him in the graveyard and also summon him in the on the field. So you could do a lot of cool things. You'll kind of see that stuff that I'm doing where I'm summoning heavy monsters from my card by activating this from the graveyard. So this has 2 good utilities. So you have to be very mindful of what cards you're using and how you're using them, depending on how much you want to fill up your field. So you'll see me sometimes basically summoning multiple monsters instead of sacrificing, a Pendragon to summon Beowulf, I'll sacrifice a Berformet to basically get an Oracle, and then I'll use the Graveyard activation to basically summon a 7-star like Chaos King or Dragon King Pendragon, so on and so forth. So that's kind of the idea really for these. This is for like activation of a lot of heavy monsters and things from your extra deck via hand and then graveyard. And then this is your search card where you get to search your deck to actually find a card that you need in order to do combinations. So that's what makes this really amazing. And the other card here is the Forbidden Dark Contract with the Swamp King. And I only have one card of these because this card basically takes 2,000 life points, and all it really does is it allows you to summon one triple D monster with that card. So if you have this card in your hand, this card in your hand, this card in your hand, you basically can activate it and you could just bring it onto the field. But there's other cool ways on how you can do this that I kind of just have this once there. It's like a just in case scenario kind of thing. And then after that, the other cool thing is having Nighthowl. Nighthowl, you can do some really cool combinations if you have Berformet already in your graveyard, because you can summon this card, then summon Berformet from the graveyard, and then synchro summon Gust King Alexander, which is basically, you know, a 7-star tuner monster. So you would need the 3-star tuner plus a 4-star monster in order to get a 7-star. And if you wanted to swap these cards around to kind of do some other things, to kind of do more of the combinations of 7-star synchro, you can do that. But the one thing I do want to voice that's really nice about Berformet is if worst case scenario you start running out of cards to use for these, you can actually manipulate the star level of other fiend monsters. So if you read this, it says once per turn you can target one DD monster you control that has a level except Berformer declared a level from 1 to 8 becomes that level until the end of the turn. So what that's saying is, hypothetically, if we wanted to XZ summon, we could do Nighthowl, then we can summon Berformet from the graveyard, and then we can activate his skill, make this a 4-star, and then after that, now we can synchro summon Triple D Wave King Caesar, which is a 4-star XZ summon. And that would be a way that you would kind of be able to do that. Obviously, you can do synchro summonings by obviously having these two monsters here, or you can change another monster that you want that's essentially, you know, that can do that. But you have to keep in mind that it has to be a DD monster in order for that to happen. So you can use a Swirl Slime. I highly wouldn't recommend it, but like that's another way that you can kind of go of it if you kind of don't have any cards in your hand to kind of do that type of stuff. But this card is very strong. Like, what really drives the deck are these 3 cards followed by these 3 cards. And then after that, you know, just kind of having other cards to kind of have support handling for it. So that's pretty much the deck, guys. I hope that makes sense to you. I just kind of wanted to give a quick guide on this because just to let you guys know, I only went 3 times into this deck, and then after that I filled it up with other cards that I felt like would be useful. And you can kind of choose whatever cards you guys think. Let me know in the comments below what cards you actually would use for spells if you didn't go into that mini box. I eventually will go into the mini box, but I wanted to make like a really cool free-to-play version of like, yo, this is really cheap. It has some really nice cards. Now, the one thing I definitely do want to voice that if we check over here, DD Swirl Slime, if you went already into Truth Universe box, which is a box that was on April 30th, then you might already have, probably already have one Swirl Slime, so you wouldn't need to go 3 times. Let me see this Dark Contract. Yeah, same thing with this. You may already have 3 of these, so you may just need to go twice or whatever if you already have those cards available. Because if you see, for the most part, the only cards I really went 3 times in was the Swirl and the Dark Contract. So you probably can just go 2 times in this deck and you'll be good. You might even just need to go once if you went twice in that big box. But if you're like me, you probably don't go into big boxes more than once because it's just too expensive. But I wanted to show this. Let me show some gameplay, guys. I really hope you guys enjoy the plays that you kind of see, and let me know what you guys would love to see next. I will catch you guys next time. Sky's under here right now. She is licking my hand. Little baby girl. I wish I could change the camera so you guys can see her, but yo, check these videos out, and I will catch you on the next one. Let me know what you guys want to see next. I did want to voice is the skill I am using. I am using the DD King skill. I don't feel this that the triple D deck is good yet for like pendulum summons and stuff like that. I did use King of the Underworld for a little bit in one playthrough. You are gonna see that, but I feel like for the time being, the double D King, the extra 500 damage for 2 turns definitely really helps for the single turn killing, just because you could do some really cool combinations of activating this skill, followed by doing a pendulum activation to get another 500 attack, or getting another 500 attack from the Pendragon, so on and so forth. So some really cool stuff you can do with this. You still get pendulum zones with the DD King, so that's really nice. Other people do use King of the Underworld, and then there's like other skills as well, which I'm trying to see if I can show the skills. Like there's one skill which you can actually like skip the standby phase, but if you're using that character that heals, you kind of don't need to. So it all depends on what your playstyle is and what cards you have in your extra deck to kind of make it work. So I just wanted to voice that. I totally forgot to tell you. Let me see. Here we go. Why can't I check? Why can't I view the skill? There it is. It's on the right side. I'm used to mobile playing. I'm so sorry, guys. Contract Procrastination is the one that you can skip a standby phase to not take damage. But I definitely do like, for the time being, having the double D King and just like having that healing with the card that I'm using. So just wanted to kind of voice that. Play of what I did in one match, so you guys can get an idea of what I did. And I could actually pause it and kind of go through a breakdown to show you guys, so you guys can get a better understanding of how the deck that we built and how it works. And it's so cheap, guys. It's super cheap. So I'm using a skill that I'm not going to use anymore. It's like I said in the beginning, I would be using the other skill. But if we take a look right here, we're going to pause it right away. We have the Swirl Slime, which is a good start. And we also have Dark Contract with the Gate. But I did also notice that we had Nighthowl. So you're going to see that when I decide to choose what card I want, I'm going to choose Berformet. And the reason is because I'll be able to summon 2 monsters that way. So you'll see here. That doesn't do anything, unfortunately, because I didn't have anything. I didn't have a triple D monster in my hand. So that basically did nothing. So ignore the fact that I did that. That was something just because I put it to get more health because of what I'm going to summon. So take a look at this. So now we're going to activate the slime. And what we did was we sacrificed the Berformet to summon this specific monster. So the slime and the Berformet was sacrificed. So now, oh, sorry, it's paused. So now because we have the Oracle here, what we're going to do here is now we're going to summon Nighthowl because we didn't use our normal summon yet. And we're going to bring the 4-star Berfomet out. And the 3-star tuner with the 4-star Berfomet is going to allow us to basically synchro summon our extra deck monster. We get the Berfomet out. I love. He has so much dialogue with them. Now, if this was a turn 2, because this guy clearly, like, if it was a turn 2, we could put 500 attack to each of our monsters. That was an extra 1,000. And you could do that twice if we had the skill, but we're using the other skill, which is not right. So he completely bricked. But this is really to show the engine of the cards that we are doing. So now we're going to do the Dark Contract. Yeah, we just got another trap. We got the healing because our standby phase from both cards, so we're going to get 3,000 in total. And we pulled Doom King because we're able to summon him. There we go. So now we have basically a full setup here. And we could do absolutely amazing things. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to summon our strongest monster possible. That's right.
The true tyrant. Triple D wave oblivion King Caesar Ragnarok. Ready to battle? Caesar Ragnarok. Show them who reigns supreme. Savage retro. This is the end. Oracle King Dark.
And that's kind of how the engine of this deck works. See about that. For the let's see, baby. Okay. So we got a few things. We got a few things, baby.
I activate my continuous spell. Dark.
All right, we're definitely gonna bring something to the table.
Gates effect activates.
I feel we're gonna have a few things. So I'm definitely doing this, I think this would be nice. Yeah, it would be a nice option. So we're gonna do this. So now we're gonna activate.
I activate Double D Swirl Slime's effect.
So first thing we're gonna do is bring this person to the woodworks.
I will create a monster that will seal the ruler of legend. The tuner monster Double D Nighthowl.
Yep.
Double D Nighthowl's effect activates. The Dark Winged Behemoth. Double
Let's
D
do it.
Berformet. Cut through the darkness like a blade of lightning. Begin your...
And then finally,
I activate Double D Swirl Slime's effect. Triple D Dragon.
so we have a bunch of stuff set up here.
I end my turn.
Let's see what he's gonna do.
Go ahead and rebuild your strategy. I'll just tear it down.
I set a card face down. Let's do this. I summon a monster in attack position. My monster's effect activates.
He's summoning the blue eyes.
Not a single.
He's gonna attack one of them. It's just who are you gonna attack?
Will now battle. Blue Eye.
Really? That was a poor choice. That was a total poor choice. He should have went for the middle person. Because now we're gonna heal.
Gates effect activates. contract with the gate's effect activates.
Definitely would love to kind of have that ready. Maybe, actually, this is what we could do. Because I have 2 monsters in there, don't I? Yeah, I got 2 monsters in there. So why don't I just pendulum summon, banish them,
I set the pendulum stand.
right? Activate.
Activate Triple D Chaos King Apocalypse
And then say, yo, I want this one. And then I want this one. And I'm like, yo, I want this guy right here.
Chaos King Apocalypse.
Now, what he doesn't realize is that we could do some skill activations. And this is what makes this really nice.
Never gone easy on it.
So now, let's have at it.
Chaos King Apocalypse.
There's 1.
You'll have to.
Gust King Alexander.
There's 2.
This duel is.
See ya, bro. See ya, bro!
There must be some mistake.
There
With
is.
a real battle, you would have lost everything.
Nah, man. Good match. Definitely a lot of fun just messing with this. We could keep.
Thank you
finding-
guys so much for tuning in. Again, if this is your first time here and you're watching from YouTube, definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you ever come to Twitch, definitely be sure to hit that follow button. Come join us on Discord. The link is below in the YouTube description. Also, last but not least, I want to say major shout outs to the sponsors. If you guys also wanted to financially support the stream, definitely be sure to check out that YouTube description below. There is a Patreon link. And if you can't support financially, don't worry guys, there's other ways you can actually show support. That's getting the word out, sharing the content, letting friends and loved ones know about this this channel. Tell them to come and hang out. Come join us on Discord. You will not regret it. It's the best community / family ever. It says it right there on the freaking board. Yo, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you guys next time. Let me know in the comments below what you would like to see next, what you think about the video, and so on. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.